Imagine waking up tomorrow and nothing, absolutely nothing gets under your skin. Not the criticism, not the traffic, not the noise in your head telling you you're not enough. What if I told you that this state of calm resilience, this unshakable presence, isn't just possible, it's trainable? Here's the thing, your nervous system is wired to react. Evolution made sure of that. It scans for threats, responds to stress, and it does this without asking your permission. But here's what's even more powerful, neuroplasticity. The brain's ability to change, to rewire, that's not motivational fluff, that's biology. You can train yourself to act as if nothing bothers you, not by pretending, but by conditioning the system that decides how you respond to the world. Let's get very real. When something bothers you, it hijacks your physiology. Your pupils dilate, your heart rate climbs, your body floods with cortisol, and in that moment, your ability to think clearly is compromised. But here's the lever you can pull. You can train your body to stay neutral. Through breathwork, through focus training, through deliberate exposure, you become a system that doesn't overheat. You're not ignoring the stress, you're transforming your response to it. Acting as if nothing bothers you isn't apathy, it's mastery. It's having the internal mechanics so refined that your external environment loses its grip on your internal state. That's control, that's power. And it's the gateway to focus, performance, and ultimately, freedom. The people who change the world, who create, lead, build, they've learned to operate with their foot on the gas and their nervous system in neutral. They experience the pressure, but they do not become it. That's the training, that's the work. It's not about pretending to be calm. It's about constructing a mind and body that actually are calm, even in chaos. So you want to act as if nothing bothers you, good, but know this, it's not an act, it's a discipline, a neurological reprogramming, a minute-by-minute choice to breathe deeper, to blink slower, to speak clearer, to think longer, to move forward when every signal in your body is telling you to react. This is not about being emotionless, it's about being unstoppable. That's the real shift, when you walk into the storm and the storm doesn't shake you. Because you've trained for this, because you've built it from the inside out, because you are the calm and nothing, not the noise, not the critics, not even your own fear, and touch that. When we talk about emotional regulation, most people assume it's something you're either born with or you're not. That some people are just naturally calm, composed, collected, and others aren't. But that's not how the nervous system works. The truth, grounded in neuroscience, is this: emotional regulation is not a trait. It's a trainable skill. Just like learning to play an instrument or build muscle, you can condition your mind and body to respond differently to stress. Think about what's actually happening when something bothers you. A snide comment, a failure, an unexpected challenge. It triggers a cascade of signals through your autonomic nervous system. Your heart rate increases. Your breathing shortens, your pupils dilate. Blood flow shifts from the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for rational thinking, into survival mode. In that moment, you are no longer in control. Your biology is, but here's the science. Backed power move. You can teach your biology a different pattern through consistent practices like physiological sighs. 2 inhales through the nose, 1 long exhale through the mouth. You send a signal straight to your brainstem that you're safe. You downshift the sympathetic nervous system and re-engage the parasympathetic, and you do it in real time. The more often you intervene at the physiological level, the more your brain learns, I don't need to panic here. And slowly, over time, your baseline shifts. That's neuroplasticity in action. Your stress response weakens, your control strengthens. You're not suppressing your reactions, you're reprogramming them. That's the foundation of acting as if nothing bothers you, not suppressing emotion, but mastering it at the source. Now, let's be very clear about something. Acting as if nothing bothers you doesn't mean you're pretending. This isn't about plastering on a fake smile or bottling up what you really feel. That kind of performance doesn't last. The body knows, the nervous system knows. Suppression actually amplifies stress over time. It creates internal friction. Your outward appearance says, I'm fine, but your internal state is screaming the opposite. That gap between the two, that's where burnout, anxiety, and breakdowns live. What we're talking about is not performance, it's transformation. It's becoming someone who no longer needs to act calm because calm is now the default state. And that doesn't come from denial, it comes from integration. from building real physiological and psychological tools that change how you process intensity. When you've trained your nervous system to stay regulated, your body doesn't overreact, your mind doesn't spiral, and suddenly you're not pretending to be unbothered. You genuinely are. Your face, your tone, your decisions, they're grounded, not forced. And people can feel that. It's authentic. It's stable. That's what makes it powerful. This is why we don't fake resilience. We train it. Because anything less is just noise, and your system knows the difference. One of the most misunderstood truths in neuroscience is this: the mind doesn't lead the body. The body leads the mind far more often. Your mental state is not just floating in your head. It's a direct reflection of what your body is doing. You feel anxious, check your breathing. You feel overwhelmed, look at your posture. You feel scattered, where are your eyes looking? These aren't subtle cues. They're hardwired levers into your autonomic nervous system. Let's get specific. When you're stressed, your breathing shifts to rapid, shallow inhales. Your chest tightens. Your gaze becomes more panoramic, scanning for threats. That's your body preparing for a fight or flight scenario. But here's the incredible part: you can reverse engineer this process by consciously shifting those same levers, by slowing your breath, pulling your shoulders back, narrowing your visual focus. You send a message back to your brain that there is no threat, that it's safe to stay composed. This is not theory, it's mechanistic. You're tapping into systems that evolved over hundreds of thousands of years to keep you alive, and when you learn to manipulate those systems, you become the one in control. You don't have to wait for calm to arrive, you create it. This is why acting unbothered starts in the body, because if your physiology is in chaos, your thoughts will follow. But if your body is steady, if your breath is slow, your eyes are focused, your posture is grounded, your brain reads that as confidence, safety, and control. You don't just look calm, you are calm, and from that state, you can handle anything. Every time you react to something, whether it's a harsh comment, a failure, or even a loud noise, your brain records it. It builds a pattern, a loop, and if you react the same way enough times, panic, anger, shutdown, your nervous system starts to anticipate that reaction before anything even happens. That's a learned response, but here's the breakthrough. If a response can be learned, it can be unlearned. That's neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is not a buzzword. It's the biological truth that your brain is always changing, sculpting itself based on what you repeatedly do, feel, and think. So when you choose, deliberately, to stay calm in a moment of stress, even once, you lay down a new neural track, and every time you repeat that calm response, that track gets deeper, more automatic. Eventually, what used to trigger you no longer hits as hard or at all. This isn't about ignoring stress. It's about engaging with it differently, on purpose. You intercept the old loop and install a new one. That's how you go from being someone who acts calm to someone who is calm. You're literally restructuring your brain's architecture, changing synaptic connections, modulating neurotransmitter release, rewiring limbic pathways, and it doesn't take decades. It takes repetition, intensity, and intention. You're not fighting your biology, you're using it. You're taking control of the very system that used to control you. That's not a mindset shift, that's a neural shift. That's how resilience becomes real, embodied, and permanent. The way you perceive a situation determines how your body reacts to it, not the situation itself. Your interpretation of it, that's the lever. That's where the entire cascade begins. Your brain isn't responding to reality, it's responding to your version of reality. And that version is shaped by past experiences, expectations, emotional memories. It's a filter, but the filter isn't fixed. You can train it, you can sharpen it, and when you do, your reactions change automatically. Let's break it down. You get criticized in a meeting. One person sees that as an attack, and their system floods with cortisol, heart rate spikes, cognitive focus collapses. Another person sees it as data, an opportunity to adapt. Their physiology stays neutral, calm, present, same stimulus, different perception, and that perception isn't a personality trait, it's a trained response built through repeated exposure and controlled self-talk. What's happening here is a fundamental principle of neuroscience, top-down processing. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for rational thinking and evaluation, has the ability to modulate the reactivity of the amygdala, your emotional alarm system. But only if you engage it. When you pause, when you reframe a trigger as a challenge instead of a threat, you keep the prefrontal cortex online, and when that stays active, your whole system stays in balance. The most elite performers, whether they're athletes, CEO, or special forces operators, all share this trait. They control perception. They dictate the narrative in real time, not because they're fearless, but because they've trained their brains to respond with clarity instead of panic. That's the real power of acting unbothered, not just keeping your cool, but rewriting the story so your system never overheats to begin with. One of the most powerful ways to shift your stress response is through something called stress inoculation. This concept comes from the idea of building resilience by deliberately exposing yourself to manageable amounts of discomfort, so that your system learns how to handle stress without breaking down. It's a lot like training a muscle. You don't get stronger by avoiding resistance. You get stronger by choosing the resistance, by applying controlled stress to the body and mind, and allowing them to adapt. Think about cold exposure. It's an intense stressor, right? The first time you jump into cold water or take a cold shower, your body wants to react. Pounding heart, shallow breath, panic. But if you do it regularly over time, your system learns to regulate itself. You train the autonomic nervous system to stay calm, even in the face of a strong stressor. That's stress inoculation at work, and it doesn't stop with cold showers. It applies to any form of discomfort. High-intensity workouts, mentally challenging tasks, difficult conversations. Each of these is a form of stress inoculation when approached with the right mindset. But here's the key: you don't just throw yourself into any stressful situation and hope for the best. You want to start small and build up. You need to learn to control your response to stress incrementally, because the body can only adapt to stressors when they're within a certain threshold. If you push yourself too hard, too fast, you risk overwhelming your system. But when you expose yourself to stress at the right intensity and give yourself time to recover, your resilience strengthens. As you build your tolerance, you're rewiring your nervous system to be able to handle the big stresses when they come, without losing your composure. And that's where real control lies. You don't just react to the stress in front of you. You've trained your body and mind to stay calm and deliberate. You've inoculated yourself against the potential for overwhelm. The next time something difficult comes your way, you don't freeze, you move forward, you stay composed, you perform. One of the most underrated skills in maintaining calm under pressure is focus. The ability to control your attention, to direct it with precision, is perhaps the most powerful tool you have in managing stress. When your nervous system is activated, when your body is flooded with stress hormones, your brain's tendency is to become scattered. The mind races, the thoughts spiral, and suddenly you're overwhelmed by the noise of everything happening around you. That's when your prefrontal cortex, the brain's center for higher-level thinking and decision-making, begins to lose its grip. But here's the fascinating thing: you can deliberately bring it back online by focusing your attention in a specific way. When you're in a stressful situation, one of the first things to do is narrow your attention. Instead of allowing your mind to jump from one thought to the next, hone in on one small thing. It could be your breath, the sensation in your feet, or a single object in your environment. By doing this, you activate the focused mode of the brain. When you force your brain to zoom in on something specific, you bypass the reactive, emotional centers and engage the parts of your brain responsible for logic and clarity. This is a key strategy when stress hits. Your brain wants to flood you with everything, all at once. But if you can refocus your attention, even for a brief moment, you can turn down the volume of the noise. This simple shift allows you to think clearly and respond more effectively to whatever is in front of you, rather than reacting impulsively. There's a biological reason for this. When you focus intently on one thing, the brain's default mode network, which is responsible for daydreaming and self-referential thinking, quiets down. At the same time, the executive networks that govern attention and problem solving are activated. In essence, you're controlling your state of mind by controlling what your mind focuses on. The power of focus isn't just in avoiding distraction. It's in shifting your internal state. When you bring your mind back to a single point of attention, you regain control over how your body and brain react, In the heat of the moment, this act of focusing brings you back to a calm, regulated state. It's like flipping a switch from chaos to clarity, from reactive to responsive. This skill doesn't just help you in moments of stress, it helps you stay present, to process, and to perform under pressure without being swept away by the intensity of the situation. When you master your internal state, something incredible happens. The external world starts to lose its ability to destabilize you. This is one of the core principles of true resilience. It's not about controlling everything around you. It's about controlling how you respond to it. The more you build the capacity to remain centered, the more you realize that external chaos doesn't need to become your internal chaos. You become the calm in the storm, the anchor in the turbulence. And when that happens, it's not just a personal benefit. It becomes a powerful force in how you interact with others and how you move through the world. The reality is, life will never stop throwing challenges at you. Stress, conflict, unexpected setbacks, these are constants. But what happens when you learn how to stay grounded, even when the world around you is spinning? You stop becoming a victim of your circumstances. You stop being reactive. You stop letting every wave of uncertainty throw you off course. Instead, you learn how to ride those waves with control, with poise. You stop getting rattled because your ability to stay calm is no longer dependent on the external environment. It's rooted in the deep work you've done within yourself. This level of self-mastery comes from consistently training your mind and body to not overreact to outside stimuli. It's about being able to feel the pressure, recognize the discomfort, and yet remain unmoved by it. It's not that the pressure or discomfort doesn't exist, it's that you no longer allow it to dictate your state of mind. The world around you can be chaotic, but within you there is peace. And when that inner peace is solid, it radiates outward. People sense it. It becomes part of how you lead, how you influence, how you collaborate, and how you perform. Calmness becomes contagious. The beauty of this isn't just in how you manage stress, it's in how you show up. The more you're able to stay composed, the more control you have in high-stakes situations. You're no longer reactive to the noise of the world. You're the one creating the conditions for clarity, for purpose, and for focused action. The world may be swirling around you, but your center remains unmoved, and from that place you make the best decisions, you act with intention, and you become the kind of person who others want to follow. That's power, and it's power that comes from within. When you cultivate this inner calm, you don't just benefit yourself. You create a ripple effect that influences everyone around you. This is something many people don't fully appreciate, how our emotional and physiological states influence others. Your calm presence becomes a stabilizing force. People pick up on your energy, your focus, your demeanor. It's subtle, but it's powerful. When you're grounded, others feel more comfortable, more capable, more willing to trust and follow. Think about it. When you enter a room and you're visibly stressed, anxious, or reactive, people feel it. It doesn't matter how polished your words are or how confident your appearance seems. Your body is sending signals, and people pick up on those signals. It might not be conscious, but it influences how they perceive you and how they interact with you. On the other hand, when you enter a room calm, composed, and focused, it has the opposite effect. People feel safer, more at ease. You create a space where others can also remain steady, where their own stress levels drop because they sense you're in control. That is an extraordinary tool, especially when you're leading teams, guiding projects, or navigating high-pressure environments. This is why being calm isn't just about individual success, it's about creating a positive feedback loop that strengthens everyone around you. Leaders, in particular, have this immense responsibility. Your ability to remain calm under pressure directly impacts the performance and mental state of your team. If you're frazzled, everyone feels it. If you're composed, they'll mirror your behavior. Your calmness isn't just a personal trait, it's a collective asset. You set the tone. The most effective leaders don't just manage their own reactions, they shape the emotional landscape of the entire group. When stressors arise, they don't crumble. They stay focused, they guide, they reassure, and in doing so, they enable others to stay focused too. When people sense that you're unshaken by adversity, they start to trust not just you, but the process, the team, the mission. It's a powerful form of influence that comes from personal mastery of your emotional state. Your calm, steady presence becomes a force multiplier for everyone you interact with. People gravitate toward you. They want to collaborate with you. They feel they can rely on you because you are reliable internally, and as you continue to develop this skill, you expand your capacity to influence and lead, not by force or authority, but by example. You teach others, without even saying a word, that it's possible to stay calm, to be resilient, and to perform at your best no matter what the external world throws your way. Here's the truth: you're not born with unshakable calm. It's not a trait you either have or you don't. It's a discipline, and like any discipline, it takes time, effort, and consistent practice to cultivate. People who seem naturally composed under pressure haven't just gotten lucky, they've put in the work. And here's the kicker: that work is available to everyone. This is the power of neuroplasticity. Your brain isn't a static organ, it's dynamic, always adapting based on your experiences and actions. Every time you act with composure, even in the face of discomfort, you reinforce that behavior in your brain. You build new neural pathways that make it easier to stay calm the next time, but it doesn't happen overnight. The brain needs repetition to rewire itself. Just like building muscle at the gym, you don't get strong by lifting weights once and calling it a day. You need a program, consistency, and gradual progress. And every time you engage in this training, your nervous system becomes more adept at handling stress without being overwhelmed by it. Over time, what once felt like an insurmountable challenge becomes a minor bump in the road. It's the same with emotional regulation. At first, staying calm under pressure might feel forced. Your body might want to react. Your heart rate spikes, your thoughts race, your muscles tighten. But with each moment you choose to breathe through that, you change the default pattern. You teach your brain to stay steady, and soon enough your reactions aren't just a conscious effort. They become automatic. The discipline becomes second nature. You no longer have to think, "I need to stay calm." Your system just knows how to be calm. It's who you are now. This is a core principle of growth. You aren't stuck with the way you are right now. You can train yourself to be a different version of yourself, one who can face the pressure of the world and still act with clarity and poise. And with this transformation comes freedom. Freedom from being controlled by your emotions, freedom from the chaos around you, freedom to perform at your best, no matter the circumstances. The question is never whether you can become that version of yourself. It's whether you're willing to put in the consistent work, the daily discipline to make it happen. The more you do, the more automatic it becomes. You start acting like nothing bothers you, not because you're pretending, but because you've conditioned yourself to be that unshakable person, no matter what life throws your way.